Our test today consists of 3 different parts. We've got some Hans testing, which involves some extensions to the standard Hans we run. We also have a multitude of headrests we're going to test, both with and without coverings on them. Our current cars have a foam-covered headrest with a Kevlar cover. We've got several iterations of those, and then we've also got some raw material with no covering on them. The reason we're up here these 2 days running these tests is to solve 2 different problems. Quite often in our accidents, we do see some G's on the head, which is our ear sensors that all the drivers wear, that are slightly higher than the car G's when it hits the wall. So from that, we know the headrests are probably designed just slightly too hard. So we have 2 things we want to accomplish in these 2 days. One is to find a retrofit for our cars in 2009, which would mean a slight headrest design. We're limited by the size of the cockpit and stuff, but we want to do a slight headrest design to absorb the energy more efficiently and lower the G's on the head that the drivers see. The second part of this is for our future car, where we have the ability to redesign the cockpit and use different materials, different shapes, and different thicknesses. We're also gathering some information here to be able to design that and make it safer, that much more safer for the drivers in the future. Part of the reason we're testing this is because we race quite a few of our races on ovals. And as a result, the way our cars are currently designed and are weighted with the center of gravity and stuff, we see a lot of rear impact accidents. As a result, the driver hits the headrest quite often, as opposed to a frontal impact where there's nothing for him to hit until he gets to the steering wheel, and that's what the Hans device prevents. So in a rearward impact, our drivers always hit the headrest. So we see quite a few of those throughout the year. Unfortunately, we still have accidents. Part of our job is to make it safer. Our normal process, after testing for a couple days, we have probably 100 and some channels of data we go through. We've got high-speed video. At this facility, we shoot 1,000 frames per second. We have 5 different camera angles. We have the ability to marry the timestamp of the video with the data. So we'll sit down, look at all the iterations we went through with headrest and the Hans, and try to decide if any of them solved our problems. During the testing, we do a quick initial look, but there's not enough time to study it completely. So we'll sit down, go through all the data, and one of 2 things will happen. If we're happy with the results we've had, we'll make our decisions and make our changes. Or what's usually, since this is our first test, we'll make some decisions to come back and do some design changes and do like a second round of testing before we finalize the product. Before we decide to implement any of the changes we make, either as a rule or a suggestion, there's quite a few steps that we go through. One is the sled testing, analyzing of the data, and as I mentioned earlier, we'll probably have to come back and do a second round of testing. And then we have several doctors on staff that will also be part of this study. We've got a group that meets regularly to discuss any safety items. Believe it or not, we look at the cost that's potential to incur to a team or whatever, make sure the benefits outweigh the cost, which they typically do in a safety thing. So there's quite a bit of study that goes in before we implement a process or a change to a car. But because it's a safety item, it does happen fairly quickly. So here we are in November, and we are looking to try to implement this for what would be the season testing next year. So we're looking at the end of February or so. People always ask us, how do you pick teams or drivers to help you? I'll be honest with you, almost all of them want to help. Almost all of them understand that making cars safer keeps them in a job longer, keeps them from having injuries, potential injuries. Once we're done with the sled testing and want to try it in the first design phase in a car, we simply go and look and see who's testing and ask them if we can fit into their test. I'll be honest with you, we've never been turned down so far in all the things we've asked the teams to do.